Hi, are you the owner of a small corporation wondering whether you need a shareholder agreement for the shareholders in your corporation? I'm Katherine Taylor, the lawyer for business owners, and I'm going to explain to you, number one, what a shareholder agreement is, and then number two, whether you should have one for your corporation. Now, remember, this applies to corporations and not LLCs. So if you are an owner of stock in a corporation, this would apply to you. So what is a shareholder agreement? It's basically an agreement among the owners, the shareholders of the company, that is signed by all of them, that governs and essentially sets forth all of the rights and obligations of those shareholders to each other. So for instance, the shareholder agreement would set forth things like what happens if one of the shareholders wants to get out of the company? What if one of the shareholders becomes incapacitated? What happens if they sell the stock to another company? What happens if one of the shareholders is a key employee and then wants to stop working for the company? All those sorts of things can be handled in a shareholder agreement. Now, this is different from the articles of incorporation and the bylaws of your corporation. Those documents are necessary and required by state law and really govern kind of the overall legal governance of the company. It really doesn't necessarily, those don't really necessarily address the relationship of the shareholders to each other. And that's why a shareholder agreement is important, even if you have those other documents. Okay, so you know what a shareholder agreement is. When do you need one? If you're the sole shareholder in your corporation, you really don't need a shareholder agreement, although there are some situations where you might want to have one. However, if you have more than one shareholder in your corporation, it is really important to have a shareholder agreement. And that's even if the other shareholder is a spouse, because even though you're married and you think you will always have always be aligned in terms of what the goals of the corporation are, there are situations where that might not always be the case. So if you have more than one shareholder in your corporation, you should seriously look into having a shareholders agreement put into place, because you've done a whole lot of work, spent a lot of time building this asset, and you just want to make sure that it's protected and that there is more specificity with how you manage disputes among the owners. Our contact information is on the website, www.taylorlegal.com. Call us if you have any questions about what a shareholder agreement is, or whether you'd like to look into having one drafted for you. Thank you.